Ladies and gentlemen, today's guest is the 20-year-old 2-0 as a professional, George Mangos out of Lions Den Academy. He is competing at Eternal MMA 79 against Brogan Stewart, September 23rd. You can see it on UFC Fight Pass, or you can see it live in the Gold Coast. Just head to eternalmma.com.au. I don't know, you'll find it. And you can see it live. I believe it's Southport Sharks. But look, we've got George Mangos on. He's an absolute up-and-comer. We've had guys before, like your Tom Nolans and your Harry Webbs, and they all sit around that 23 to 25 mark. And you go, man, these kids are going to be stars. This kid right now, man, he is special. He is really special. He's only just turned 20, and like I said, he's 2-0. His first victories, his debut was against Caleb Miller, who pulled out the victory at Beatdown Promotions 5 last week. And, of course, took out Aaron McConnell, who is an incredible fighter. I mean, took a few years off, but he's trained in America with Jackson Wing. Really well-renowned group of fighters in New Mexico. Mike Perry, he's worked with. He even beat... This is like weird MMA math, but like he even beat Tom Nolan as an amateur. Tom Nolan, Big Train, who you recently saw pick up a contract at the Contender Series. That was kind of Aaron McConnell. So as Tom Nolan's grown, Aaron McConnell's grown. It's kind of been a good scalp to have. And then seeing what George Mangos did to Aaron McConnell was nothing short of impressive and amazing, and we talk more about that. We also talk about why George Mangos got into MMA, his love for Lions Den Academy, his Greek heritage and his family, and all his support in mixed martial arts, and of course his fight with Brogan Stewart. So stick around if you want to hear more. But ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, George Mangos. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show. The 2-0 competing at Eternal MMA 79 in the Gold Coast against Brogan Stewart, the one and only, well, the two and only, George Mangos, mate. Welcome.
Hey, mate. How are you?
Now, undefeated 2-0 as a pro, yet you are still essentially a child in the world of mixed martial arts. How does it feel so far to have such a great start to your career?
It's great. I'm still pretty young, but yeah, I've been doing this for a long time. So I feel like I've got a lot of experience for my age. So I feel like that's why I've been able to get and so far and be able to do what I've done so far.
Has it been tricky to get fights in your, because obviously you had a pretty good amateur career, and then like we said, 2-0. Your last fight was against Aaron McConnell, who was pretty highly regarded. Have you struggled to get fights leading up to this point?
Surprisingly not so far because, well, I think because I have taken tough fights these last two. That my debut was against another guy with a decent amateur career, and then Aaron McConnell had been struggling to find fights too. So we took that one, and it was a tough fight, and it paid off. And so I think that's why we got that matchup. And this matchup again, Brogan is another tough guy. So I'm not fighting easy guys. Brogan's 4-1 FC. He's 15-2 in Muay Thai. So yeah, I think I'm getting these matchups because I'm versing tough guys who are in there to win. They're not in there to take a loss. They're putting in as much effort as I am in their camps. And so I think if that's the reason in being able to get these matchups. But I'm loving it, not sitting on the sidelines and being able to stay active.
No, for sure. And I mean, I believe you took Caleb Miller, who got his first win on the weekend as well. Hell of a display. And to put into perspective for people that don't really know, Aaron McConnell was, I mean, as highly touted as you can get. Took a few years off, but I mean, he trained at Jackson Wink in New Mexico. He's trained with Mike Perry. He's trained with some of the best guys in the sport, and he was, how I always talk about it in MMA, he had the hype, at least for me. Like, I had Aaron McConnell, so excited to see him come back. And then to see what you did to him, or he choked him out in the first round, and to how dominant you were, that then put you even higher in my book with that. Are you starting to notice that you're starting to collect a lot more fans and a lot more notoriety through this career?
Yeah, definitely, especially after that last win as well. Like, I completely agree with Aaron and how high you regard him. He's definitely a tough and very skilled opponent, and that's what pushed me very to train very hard leading up to it. And allowed me to perform how I did because yeah, I knew he was very game and very dangerous. Even walking out and being in there until the first bell went. I don't know. You can't really tell, but I was nervous. It was a lot riding on it, so um, I didn't want to crumble to the first person that I versed with a lot of credibility and yeah. So there was I put a lot of pressure on myself as I always do. I think I'm a perfectionist, so I I wanted to perform and make a statement, and that's exactly what I did. But I think Aaron was a big part of that because maybe if I didn't have him as an opponent, I wouldn't have performed as well because it was a lot of pressure leading up to it.
Were you surprised with how quickly you took him out?
Yeah, to be honest, definitely. I thought it was gonna be like a 3 round war back and forth and a very tough fight. That's what I prepared for. But yeah, I definitely I surprised myself even like you said, you regarded Aaron highly, and I'm sure you still do. There's no reason not to. But yeah, I definitely think it wasn't gonna be that in the first round. It wasn't easy, but make it look easy. So yeah, I definitely surprised myself and gave myself a lot of confidence and honestly made me want to fight more and pursue this even more than I did before.
Do you? I mean, you surely you've always believed it, but what fight? I mean, maybe it was the Aaron fight, but what fight really gave you the inkling that you were like, man, I can probably turn this into a proper career?
Yeah, definitely in my last fight. I've always thought it, and that's what I've been fighting for. Um, but definitely in my last fight, I was like, yeah, well, I can actually do this. I can actually hang with these top guys. Especially he's got good wins over Tom Nolan too. That was a big one. That was making me like nervous for that fight. I was like, "Fuck, it's got to beat Tom Nolan, and he's in the UFC now." I was like, oh, what am I getting myself into? It's I think that's thoughts all fighters have. I'm honest about it. So if I'm feeling like that, and that's nothing to hide. That's how you should feel. I don't know. It shouldn't be no emotions and no fear. That's normal. That's how you should feel leading up to those tough fights, and that's what excites me.
Well, I mean, you talk about like no fear and obviously being prepared to be in the moment. I mean, training out of Lionsden, you guys are really starting to emerge as one of the top gyms in Australia. What is it that you guys are doing that's different? I mean, I spoke to Alan Philpott, who had an amazing display and a resurgence in the bantamweight division. He just said that you got the way you guys train is just on another level.
Yeah, it's great. And Phil It's great to have him on the team too. He's a very experienced guy. But yeah, it's just everyone's gunning for the same dream. Everyone wants that top spot. So we're all pushing each other. There's no slacking off at our gym, especially with our coach Luke. He's OG of the game. He's been around for a long time. He ran CFC. He's had Lions then for like 25 years or something like that. But I'm longer than I've been alive. Um, so yeah, he knows his stuff. He's worked with top guys like Corey Nelson, Hector Lombard when he was in Australia. He's yeah, lots of top guys. So he knows his stuff and he knows what it takes to get to those top levels. And we're all just following him. With no hesitation, and it's paying off. So we're winning. We're doing well. We're making putting our name out there, and yeah, we're gonna definitely be one of the highest regarded gyms coming out of Australia.
Has he had to sort of pull you down at any point, sort of humble you at all? Did you ever come in? I mean, you're a young guy that's been dominating grown men in the sport. Has he ever had to sort of flick you around the ears and go, "Come on, mate, back to earth"?
No, not really. I think I do an all right job of being as humble as I can be. But I think that's with how I was brought up. My parents always instilled that in me that I don't want to be like a cocky guy. I'm pretty humble, and especially being in this sport, especially from a young age, it's hard to be out there and cocky and not humble if you're following it as like a martial art, which is how I did from the beginning, especially. Yeah, it's I think the way to do it properly is to not be out there like that. I think I try my best to be like that, and so Luke so far hasn't had to pull me up on anything yet.
And you're 20 yet?
Yeah, 20. I just turned 20 in last month in August.
Which is ridiculous. But surely, like the allure of the parties and what all your other friends are doing. Are you still sort of training life balance, or are you strictly to the game?
No, it's sort of strictly just fighting. Look, if I don't have a fight, maybe I'll go out here and there. But I'm like, if you look at my record, I've been fighting so
Yeah.
much, so like I don't have any chance to go out. And honestly, now it's gotten to the point where I'm not even like feeling like I'm missing out. I'm getting so much joy and rewards from doing what I'm doing. I think it's worth way more than going out and partying.
And what got you into MMA to begin with?
I always loved like combat sports and just like I would always me and my cousins would have wrestling matches in our backyards. I've got videos, I've got to find them somewhere. My dad would count us in 3, 2, 1 fight and we'd just throw around. And my cousins were all older than me, so I was the smallest one, but I had the most like anger and competitiveness. So I always put up a good fight and yeah, my parents wanted me to be disciplined and be able to defend myself, obviously out in the world. So they threw me in there at a young age at 8, not with the idea of fighting, just to take care of myself. And yeah, I just fell in love with it. Really, I was pretty good at it for my age, and yeah, just one thing after another. Had some grappling comps, and then first thing you know, I had my first fight at 15, and then yeah, here we are now.
So obviously the parents were not sort of worried at all about you going into fighting.
A little bit at the start. Not really my dad. He was loving it. My mum a little bit at the start, but as she sees that like I take her very seriously
Mm.
and I'm putting in all the hard work, she sees how much I train and how much it means to me. She's more confident in me now, and obviously she still gets worried. Both of them do that, as you would when your child is fighting. But yeah, they know I'm putting in the hard yards, so I'm giving myself the best chance I can give myself.
What about the extended families? Yeah, Greek heritage. Yeah, how does do they all gather around and when it's fight night and
Yeah, pretty much. They all love it. Every family gathering, it's like I'm getting bombarded with questions from my family about my next fight or my last fight or whatever, making the UFC or something. Everyone's like, all my friends watches your fights, and they give me some exposure to all their friends watching me and stuff. So it's great. And yeah, also my uncle, actually my mum's brother, was he always done taekwondo. I think he was like a 2-time taekwondo Australian champion or something like that. So he's always been involved with it too. So even yeah, I think I've seen a video of me when I was young as well, maybe 4 or 5. He's holding his hands up and I'm hitting him like their
uh,
mids and stuff like that. I've got to find them all somewhere. But yeah, I've always loved that, just the whole idea of combat sports.
is I mean if you don't do fighting, sort of. I mean, it's so hard to ask you because I feel like you're so invested in the sport, but it's like, is there like a backup plan? Like, do you go be a concreter? I don't know. That's a Greek stereotype, but
Yeah,
like, do you have like that backup plan?
yeah, yeah. I'm currently a 4th year electrical apprentice, so I'll get my trade hopefully at the end of this year in November. I gotta sit my final exam, but yeah, that's almost done and dusted. I left school in year 10 to do that. Um, and actually, it just worked out perfectly because now I'm almost finished and I'm right at that time where I can hopefully next year start pulling back from working, 6 days a week and focusing more on fighting because I'll have my license. So it actually worked out good because I don't know what I'll do now if I was a second year and in the position I am at with fighting, it'd be colliding more than what it would be now when I get my license. So it'll be making my life a lot easier and I can pull back on work. But I don't really like to think of it as like a backup plan. Like it is because I've already obviously got licensed to do something, but yeah,
Mm.
I don't want to touch another tool after I make the UFC.
Well, and that's the thing too. It's like, because I mean, people don't understand that. Like, obviously, sometimes, say you can train, I don't know, 8 times a week, but you got to live off like Centrelink, or you can train 6 times a week with a job. You know what I mean? Like, you can kind of finance the job. You take that half a step back to take 2 steps forward. Is it
Mm.
hard balancing trying to work, trying to make money with the career? I mean, do the parents help out? Like, what's your sort of financial sort of situation going forward with the career?
No, it definitely is hard to balance. I made sure from the start I got into a good routine and made put my savings away each week, even when I was on 1st year wages. So I've made myself. I'll put myself in the best position I can. Plus, I've got a great group of like sponsors that support me each fight, which make my life a lot easier, and so I don't have to worry too much about my stress. Not much as my parents as so, um, which is better, I think, because it just if everything's handed to me, I don't know. It's like I don't have to work for it as much. So everything I've done or everything I've got, I've built for myself. So that's the way I like it. And yeah, just feel like you have to go through that to get to where I want to go. You got to have to put in the hard yards and sacrifice a lot. Otherwise, if it's just handed to you, it doesn't mean as much.
And do you have a plan on? I mean, I know it's so early in your career, but do you have a plan going forward in terms of like, oh, I want to be in the UFC by this many years, or what's the realistic path forward, or is it right now just win fights and get better?
Yeah, honestly, you're right. It is both, to be honest. So it's right now, I have an idea in my head. It's but the best, all I can do really is take a fight by fight. You know, have a great performance against Brogan, put him away, and then take the next fight. If I can finish this year, I want to finish this year 4-0. Have another fight by the end of the year. If I can do that, I feel like that puts me in a really good spot for next year. Start taking out some top names, whoever you guys regard as up there. I want to take them out and make it look easy. So that's my plan for next year. And who knows, 5-6-0, 7-0, maybe a contender series or something cool. That's the plan.
And speaking of guys you hold up there, is there anyone that you really want to get in the cage with, that you really idolize their skill on the Australian MMA featherweight scene?
I don't know about names in particular. There's a few guys up there. Whoever's fighting for titles lately, um, whoever's got some hype around that, I want to take with it and run it. You know, run with it. I'm not really fussed on whoever's got a streak going. Whoever's the next guy in line, I want to derail that hype train and everyone can hop on one.
How do you feel like this weekend is going to go? Like, how do you envision the fight?
Um, there's a few ways it can go. I'm not sure. Brogan's a tough guy. You know, he doesn't got to where he has. You know, being a shit fighter. You know, he's talented. He's tough. He's durable. So I don't know. It's just gonna have to play out. Just gonna have to see how it plays out. I've watched him fight. I can see. I've pictured ways on how to win, but it's different when you're in there. What holes I'll see. What moments will happen. Who knows? Sometimes he starts slow, sometimes he doesn't. I'm a fast starter. It could end like that. It could be durable. It could go to the decision. I'm not fast with it. I like having a 100% finish rate, but I'll be there all 15 minutes if it needs to be. So obviously I'm hunting for the finish, but yeah, I'm ready wherever. I'm ready to strike. I'm ready to wrestle. I'm ready to grapple. I think I've got him covered everywhere.
And now take us through the change room before you walk out. I mean, you mentioned earlier about being a little bit nervous for the Aaron McConnell fight, but are you a guy that almost sort of gets in your own head backstage, you get really nervous, I don't want to be here. As soon as you get to the ring, you're ready to rumble? Or are you confident the whole week leading up and into the change room?
Yeah, I'm pretty confident. Like all week leading up into the change room, sometimes I get in my head a bit. Walking out in my some depends on. But yeah, once that bell goes, it just all like disappears. I'm ready to go when I'm in there. It's pretty crazy how quickly it goes. It's like that fight or flight, and yeah, I'm there to fight. So sometimes yeah, backstage I'm usually all right. I'm pretty sure every single one of my fights backstage, I've asked myself, what the fuck am I doing here? Like I don't know why am I doing this, but yeah, when I get out there and when I get my hand raised, I think get me back in here ASAP. It's the best feeling in the world.
I love it. Mate, before I let you go, I just want to ask everyone this, but after it's all said and done, how does George Mangos want to be remembered in mixed martial arts?
Definitely up there with one of the goats, one of the best to ever do it for sure. Yeah, want to get out there and beat some top names and make some good money and make a good name for myself. That's how I want to be remembered.
Awesome, mate. Well, thank you for taking the time and best of luck. It's wild that you're 20 and you've already had a pretty nice career. So I look forward to seeing what you do next, and hopefully we can chat again soon.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thanks for having me on here. I appreciate it.